The Skina watershed is home to a remarkable diversity of wild salmon. All 5 species of wild Pacific salmon live here, as well as steelhead, and there are over 300 distinct salmon spawning populations in the Skina. Each is uniquely adapted to the specific environmental conditions of the streams and lakes where they spawn. Maintaining a diversity of habitats increases salmon's resilience to increasing environmental change. In the same way, a diversified financial portfolio helps investors mitigate risk. Skeena Wild is working to ensure the fisheries of tomorrow protect this diversity and allow as many people as possible to benefit from these valuable fish. For thousands of years, First Nations in the Skeena have coexisted with wild salmon. They developed sophisticated selective harvest methods to fish for food while sustaining abundant, diverse salmon runs. Tragically, in the early 1900s, the federal government began to view these traditional methods as a threat to growing commercial salmon fishery at the mouth of the Skeena. They destroyed fish weirs belonging to First Nations in the Upper Skeena, leading to great hardship, and banned them from fishing for any other purpose than food. As a part of the 1905 Barricades Treaty between the federal government and the Babine chiefs of the Upper Skeena, the government provided First Nations harvesters with gill nets on the condition that they wouldn't rebuild their weirs. Over the decades, selective fishing dwindled, and non-selective fisheries expanded throughout northwest BC. Today, with climate change looming and wild salmon populations continuing to decline, we know fisheries can't be what they have been for the past century. Modern selective fisheries are a key tool for rebuilding at-risk salmon populations. When fish from these populations are caught, harvesters can return them to the river relatively unharmed to complete their spawning journey. The hope is that one day, these populations will once again thrive and sustain healthy fisheries for generations to come. Selective fishing means avoiding catching fish that aren't being targeted and releasing any non-target fish that are incidentally caught unharmed. The selectivity of a fishery depends on its location, timing, technology, and handling techniques, among other factors. Weirs, traps, dip nets, beach seines, and fish wheels are all examples of selective fishing technology. Location is important. In the ocean and the river's lower reaches, all species and individual populations migrate together. In smaller tributaries, further upstream, there are far fewer populations of fish. In general, fishing is more selective the further upstream it occurs. Communities are working to shift fisheries into the future, drawing on lessons from the more distant past. They're bringing selective fisheries back to the Skeena. At the end of the sockeye migration, Lake Babine Nation fisheries use seine nets on the Babine Lake to harvest sockeye. This location, just before the spawning grounds, is what makes this fishery so selective.
I'm Brittany Matthews, and I'm with Lax Fisheries here on beautiful Babine Lake. I'm the operations director for the company. We're fishing. We're in the heat of the fishing season right now. Basically, the fish, they're coming through the Skeena and they hit the Babine watershed. And then from there, the majority of the fish are heading towards the Fulton spawning channel or the Pinkett spawning channel. And Lax's goal is to harvest anything over and above whatever the channels can fill is what we're looking to take out for sustainability reasons and also for the biology of the water to keep it healthy, because too much dieback is actually damaging to the system. This is where they're coming home to spawn and they're coming home to die. So the fish here that we seine, we take either by purse seine, by boat, or we have beach seines. They're harvested, and that is a terminal fishery. Anything outside of what we don't harvest is going to die anyway. And if we don't, whatever we don't take doesn't actually spawn. They die with their spawn in them. So we're not damaging any stock that way. We're actually, believe it or not, we're helping the system. So.
First Nations in the Skina are leading the transition towards selective fisheries, which provide communities with food and jobs.
It's very special to be able to employ people in the community of Tatchet, mostly because we're very remote out here and there's not a lot of job opportunities. So when the fishery comes around each year, which we usually run for about a month, there's a lot of pre-work, there's a lot of season cleanup that's involved, but it's about a month, 7 days a week. There is no break in the fishing industry unless weather tells us otherwise. So for these people, it's something they can look forward to every year for employment. Every year we employ between 40 and 50 Lake Babine Nation members.
Just over the mountains in Whitsett Canyon, the Wet'suwet'en Fisheries program selectively catches salmon as they make their way up the Bulkley River. Using dip nets and beach seines allows them to harvest abundant species while releasing others.
What you're witnessing in the canyon is the Whitsett Mark Recapture Program. You're seeing our 2 top fishermen using the dip net to bring the salmon to the tagging table in the holding tanks where they will apply DFO passive tags. And on top of that, we are deploying radio telemetry tags so that we can track the sockeye salmon back to the headwaters and spawning grounds. Wet'suwet'en Fisheries runs this program every year because our Maurice recovery unit, as we call it, the Maurice Atna Nanica stocks have been endangered for more than 20 years. And this information that we gather here helps to feed our nation. I recognize the nation need to be able to continue to sustainably harvest our sockeye for FSC needs. This program has really enlightened me in the processes of just how long it's been that the Wet'suwet'en have been trying to recover this stock.
On the main stem of the Skina, just upstream from Terrace, Kitselas First Nation and its Social Enterprise and Economic Development arm, K5T, have deployed 2 fish wheels in Kitselas Canyon. Fish wheels turn using the power of the river's current. Their large scoops lift salmon out of the water and deposit them in a holding tank. Fisheries technicians sort the fish in holding tanks, releasing the species that aren't harvested so they can continue their migration upstream to spawn.
Hey, my name's Fred McKenzie. Right now we're in the Kitselas Canyon, which is about a 25-minute boat ride from the city of Terrace. And behind me is a selective fishing device called a fish wheel. What we're using the fish wheel for is we're supplying the band with Section 35 food fish. Right now we're only targeting sockeye, and all the other species are being live released back into the Skina. On average, with water conditions being in our favor, the wheel can catch anywhere from 250 to 500 sockeye a night. Right now, with the water conditions being so low and clear, it has slowed down quite a bit, but we're still meeting the community's requirements for food fish.
Lower on the Skina, just upstream from Prince Rupert, Lax Kw'alaams Fisheries has built a fish trap. The trap uses a net strung between steel pilings to divert migrating salmon into a holding pen.
My name is Catherine Pollock. I'm the senior biologist for Lax Kw'alaams Band. I work with the Fisheries Department, the Lands Department, and the Business Development Department. We are currently located at Ord Point on the Skeena River. We were able to get permits to put in a modified ocean-going traditional platform. So we call it the floating fish trap platform of Lax Kw'alaams. And we were able to design it and manufacture it last year. We put it in the water for a couple of weeks, to make sure that it was going to work in the area, took it out, made some modifications to it, and this year is the first year that it's in the water. We need to react to how fish are managed and the changing climate and the changing population in Lax Kw'alaams. Right now, the purpose of the trap is research. We need to provide documentation to the regulators, government regulators, that the trap is sustainable, that it operates the way that we say that it does. So our first 2 years of trap operations are for research only. This year we hired 8 students. They're, high school students who wanted a part-time job. And the hope is that this kind of engagement with the youth will engage them so that they want to continue this kind of work further into the future.
There are other examples of selective fisheries in the Skeena and neighboring watersheds as well. The Niska Nation has decades of experience operating fish wheels on the lower Nass River. Upstream on the Maziadin River, a tributary of the Nass, the Gitniao First Nation operates a commercial dip net fishery. Selective fisheries can release non-target and vulnerable species back into the river, creating more opportunities for anglers and a better chance that these fish will reach their spawning grounds. In the Skeena, selective fishing is the future. Skeena Wild is working with partners throughout the watershed to expand the use of selective technology. In fact, there are ways we can make all fisheries more selective. Using more precise selective methods allows for better stewardship and supports the widest range of values. It's about using diverse tools in a diverse system. Working together, we can rebuild the healthy salmon populations that define our region. People, salmon, communities, thriving together. Let's make it happen.